Yes.
Kicking over to live.
Yay! Hi, Art Theron. I see you.
How are you doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It is, once again, Wednesday. So it's that time to wonder why your computer's talking to you, but it is. You know what? It's not necessarily a bad thing now, is it? You
Yes.
might even like it. At least you might learn to tolerate it. What's going
I
on,
like
everyone?
computers talking to me.
I don't know. You know, I don't mind computers talking to me as long as they're not on.
Yeah, I use eSpeak all the time in the command line to read documents and web pages.
I shout at tablets. That's pretty much my voice activity. Is like, okay, Google, followed by, really? Come on. Seriously? I'm looking at my voice thing, my voice interaction with Google. That's pretty much what it is. It just evolves when I'm trying to do something very complex, like set an alarm. And you don't realize how sensitive, like my Alexas and my just tablets, because I still think like I need to talk at a normal volume, but you can just kind of whisper at them. And like, whoa, right.
I know. Yeah.
That's kind of handy. So, what do we have for you today? Well,
Hi, Katana. Hopefully no
SF.
fires today.
Software Freedom Conservancy wants you to give up on GitHub. That's kind of unfortunate. I'm going to talk about that. There's web extensions for the GNOME web browser. Yeah, you didn't know about that, did you? What? Yes, GNOME has a web browser.
Woohoo.
We're going to bring that in. Getting rid of the X Windows in GTK5, and why you shouldn't worry about that, not even a little bit. More Wayland, though, with Wayland compatibility. Soon, you'll be able to run XFCE in Wayland, just not in the good way.
And Window Maker.
And Window Maker.
Yeah.
$6 Raspberry Pis and RISC-V Raspberry Pi-like devices. All this and more.
Yeah, there's lots of news.
I can do a social
Hardware
media
and
thing,
software.
right?
Yeah.
Let's go to the Twitter. Now we got about 8 minutes before we get going.
Go take a break while I'm having a pseudo fever. I'm still dealing with that a little bit. Be right back. Hi, FX boy.
So we do that, and I go, is live.
Aw.
How many Arch users do we have listening right now? Anybody running Arch, like right now? Actively? Somewhere in the house, in the box they're using, or just, you know, you got a hard drive with Arch on it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Yeah, or Manjaro. Manjaro's Arch, you know. It's Arch with a body kit. That's like everything else based on Debian. I'm like, yes, you run Debian with a body kit. That's fine. The reason I bring this up, this is not really good enough for this show, but I wanted to give it a mention. Check this out. This came up over at Gnome's GitLab. And they're talking about replace GTK-Use portal. It's, you know, an environment var. Because sometimes you cut it on and things work better. Sometimes you cut it off and things don't. Just to list it as a debug flag. And, of course, you know, the clowns on the Arch Wiki who explain, hey, this is how you can expose this and possibly make something work better. Like, man, Benjamin, don't call all the Arch people on the wikis clowns. And of course the internet found out about this. So, you know, if you scroll down to the bottom, we love our users, and it's locked, like the other one. Bunch of clowns. That's all right. Gnome's gonna be Gnome, which is fine. Yeah, and today was the day I heard that Old Pottering has departed with the Red Hat. I don't know when that took place. I guess like earlier this year. It was the first it came across. It's come to my attention. Not that I really keep track of what Pottering's up to. Not for any particular reason, but, unless he's like, hey, we're going to make, I don't know, home D or what. I'm like, all right, let's see how that shakes out. The person responsible for System D, Pulse Audio, possibly Home D in the future. I want to know what he's doing now, man. What do? You get to walk out, kind of pick what you want to do after that, right? I think you would. Maybe a little bit. It's the only thing that's kind of fascinating. Who knows how that even shook out? Maybe it's like, I don't like this idea. Poof, gone. Which does happen. And of course, talking about Pottering's like the third rail. And I agree with you. Like, Pulse Audio is a dumpster fire. Still is kind of. Because for a long time in Linux, troubleshooting audio started with disable Pulse Audio. And to some extent, it still kind of does. We got Pipewires going to come in, hopefully smooth things over. But I'll say this. Pulse Audio was better than what we had, though. It was its own mess, but it was a workable mess. It was a mess you stood a chance fighting with. No one wants to tango with ALSA directly. You don't. And then, you're always using ALSA. ALSA's your kernel drivers. Like that. ALSA, you don't want to tango with ALSA directly. You just don't. I don't know why people do. There's a couple of applications I trust to tango with ALSA directly, like Reaper, Adore, not DaVinci Resolve. I'm sorry, DaVinci Resolve. Yeah, OSS, right? Oh, the dark, dark days. A long, long ago. I mean, with Pulse, you stood a chance. I mean, latency's off the chain with Pulse Audio, but like nothing you're never ever going to notice on a game, or like listening to audio or watching YouTube videos. It's perfectly fine for that. But on that same note, when it comes to like using like a jack audio server, you need to have a good reason to run a jack server because you're not going to get better audio quality.
Hey, Mir, how you doing?
Oh, man. Katana, you're reaching to the way, way back, yeah?
FX boy.
All right, I got 5 minutes, so yeah, let me go make a little drink, and we're going to get prepared to do the thing. Jill's going to do some freestyle for you.
Yeah. I just got back from taking some Advil. Yeah, I was sick last week, but it just never has really quite gone away. But I feel much better. I just occasionally have a fever. It's no fun. Ah, yeah. Via, yes. Aw, thank you, FX boy. I was having a hard time of it last week. And I wasn't sure if I had COVID or not. So I stayed isolated from people. Yeah, because my hubby, he has had to do COVID testing every day before he goes to work. Because they had a bad outbreak there. And they had sent him home. Was it last Thursday and Friday. So, and he's been testing, but I haven't. I'm just staying away from people just in case. But he didn't have it, so that was good. Yeah, very. Mirror. Yeah. Aw. She's a cute anime character. I like her. Oh. Oh, Katana, that's what you guys were talking about. Yeah, the DMA and IO. I remember doing all that in smodding so I could get my sound card to work on Slackware. That was the thing. But I remember being so proud when I got it to work because that was in those early years of Linux. Mhm. So, FX Boy, it's evening for you. What are you up to tonight? Do, do, do. Oh yeah, Debbie and yeah, I did it there too. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've dealt with that a little bit too on my Macs. Was it my cube? I think it was my cube I had some issues with.
Thundersword?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Red Hat Mandrake. I know that was really cool. I had the HAL. We were talking about sound cards on Linux in those early years.
If everything shakes out, I'm going to be doing a little audio and Linux documentary.
Oh, awesome. That would be great.
For another thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be part of another video, but it has the kind of have to do with a backstory on some things to get up to like current date on another thing. So, time allowing is what I'll say to that. But there's some very interesting history about how good we had it in the late 90s and early 2000s compared to now.
Sound card is detected. Yay!
I'm talking about with high-end audio converters.
Oh, okay.
Like professional stuff.
The pro stuff. Yes.
But cool things were being done that people just don't know. Like, I had to go spend an afternoon. You ever do this? You're like looking for that one link on the Wayback Machine. And you find it, but it doesn't have pictures. But it's got about, I don't know, 70 samples.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure out of those 70 samples over that multi-year date range, multi-month, multi-day in that.
Yeah.
Just to make sure, to see if it might have caught the pictures in one of them. It did. I found it.
Oh, very good. Yeah, sometimes it takes lots of digging.
All right. Nice and quick show today. And let's get to the top of the show notes. So I'm not doing that immediately at the beginning. And all of that's on. That's doing its thing. Raspberry Pi is making Raspberry Pi noises.
Good. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Strider. Good afternoon.
Yeah, if I'm ever at the point where I have to restart the sound server, at that point I just go ahead and cycle the entire box. I'm like, whatever. I'm not.
Yeah, I
let it
know.
come back up.
I do that too. Yeah, I've done that. Restart Pulse.
Yeah, if I got to do Pulse Audio Kill. Because sometimes Pulse Audio, like, I don't feel like starting back up. Like, you know
Yeah,
what?
I know. Sometimes it takes a couple times. I mean, just reboot the box.
It's not pretty, but it works.
Yeah.
And I've run into that with like writing guides on how to do things. Like, no, you don't need to restart the box. You can just do this, and you can remove this, and you can relaunch this with this. And like, you're dealing with a person that needs to read a guide on how to do this in the first place. The right way to tell them to get all this back up and running is to restart the box. Trust me on this. There's nothing to mess up on that. All right, Jill, let's get underway. But before I cut the music off, or why? Almost got it right. Let me see. Where's there? We're close. There it is. All right. There we go. Do that. And I was joking about power going out, by the way, but there is a thunderstorm coming in. So.
Oh, okay.
I was getting a refill, and I heard, which it is like bright 34 degrees outside. I'm like, what? I look up over the backyard, and I'm like, no. I was like, no. Came back in here, and I heard, unmistakable. I'm like, right, that's what that was. Huh. All right. Let's do it.
Okay.
Boom. If anything goes wrong, we're throwing OBS under the bus because I built a fresh copy last night.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't go over what patches were added. I gotta just update it, see if everything still works. Mm-hmm. Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I am Vince Stone, joined every week by one Joe Bryan. Everybody watching us live on Twitch. A lot of stuff to talk about this week.
Yeah.
A lot of things went on. Most of it's kind of like, I don't know about that, but there's some really neat things in the work. But Jill, you want a map on Friday. What am I talking about? We do Trackmania. It's kind of like 30s and over. I know we got some late 20s in there. Not intentionally. Anyone's welcome to join in. It's the old people's club where we're like, see if we can get our cars around the tracks. But you bested everyone in a points match.
Yeah, I did. This is, I think, the third time I did it on Friday. I've done it before in practice, but this was the third time on Friday. So for me, that's a victory to win a map and get the most points.
We got to think about how far everyone's come because we were cycling through maps on Tuesdays. We load in some new maps every week and go through them, kind of get a feel for them because we practice them during the week until we come into Friday where we have that points match and, we have game giveaways and all that. But there was a map from the past because the server I've set up, keeps track of all that. So it's like, I don't know if I played this, but you got to remember, like back in the day, a lot of people couldn't make it around the tracks and that's just not a problem anymore.
Yeah, now I don't have any problem with wall rides and multiple loops and the more...
Oh, I know when you hit a loop, Jill.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty good at loops, but occasionally if I go...
Jill's that loop.
Well, if it's one that has multiple loops and you have to go
then it's what I did
really
twice.
fast, I have to memorize it. Yeah.
Jill likes the loops. And no, I'm glad everybody comes and hangs out and plays, or even if you just watch. That it's just fun and it's nice and silly and it's competitive but friendly. And we definitely have established racing classes, like Formula 1 through Formula 13. Everyone's got their own nemesis.
Yes. We all do.
I'm cautiously optimistic. Excited is a strong word because I'm possibly have something very cool showing up Thursday or Friday. It says Friday. It might be Thursday, as long as I don't end up getting mailed a brick.
Yeah, you'll be happy. Yeah, it turns on.
Man, I'll share that in Discord once it shows up, if it shows up and everything's golden and I don't have to go through anything. But in other news, the Behringer UV1, we're back to working on that. I'm going to be playing with a recompiled kernel USB Audio Quirks build tonight in here since I'm here to get everything on. Hopefully, in the next at least week or so, we'll get everything needed to make that device work under Linux, because it's also a really cool piece of kit that I think is something, if you're into streaming or recording a podcast and you don't want to have all this, crap that I got set up going on, it's something that you can just use out of the box. You just plug it in and go, especially for live streaming. So I want to get all that hammered out and get everything working and get that moved into the kernel, and Linus can go, okay, that's fine. And it'll just work eventually.
Nice.
One day. Looking forward to it. Absolutely. But let's get into a little bit of the news. And this is more of an opinion piece, if you ask me, from the Software Freedom Conservancy. Give up GitHub, Jill. The time has come. Yeah. It's mean. It's bad. Grr, I don't like squid cats.
Oh, I like Squid Kitty.
This one goes on and on and on. Now, each to their own. For me, GitHub, probably the best social network I know of. RIP G+. But that said, this article is it's an opinion piece, and I get it. But this kind of comes down with all the concerns with Copilot, which I agree with all of them, 100%. I've not had anything. I should say I've not heard anything really defending Copilot. Like, that's a problem waiting to happen. But you know what? The Copilot saga hasn't played out yet. Because how many of you at home remember SourceForge and watching that implode?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Things will happen, even with Microsoft in charge. Microsoft's been known to mess up things before. Agreed. But this article, it just comes across as an opinion piece and kind of a hot mess. And, it does have recommendations like, hey, move over to GitLab. And, even with GitLab, it has a licensed Floss version and a proprietary version.
Yeah. Community edition.
Yeah. And if you're using GitLab's website, you're using the proprietary version. But the thing that wasn't addressed is some of the problems involved in moving from like GitHub to something else. If you remember moving from SourceForge to GitHub back in the day, and a comment from Hacker News kind of stuck out to me. Copilot has issues. GitHub is going the way of SourceForge. You got to abandon GitHub. Okay. So in order to do that, you need to migrate the bug queue, have all links in commit history break, application integration with GitHub or bug reporting, that's gone. Update all your documentation, find a new web host, and find a new CI/CD. Already burned by Travis GitHub workflows are nice, and teach. This is the big one. Our user contributors to actually use it. Lose all PR history, migrate project tracking, find a new place to host. It goes on. And none of those are unreasonable concerns, are they?
No, I definitely, I understand people are nervous about the Microsoft's AI. That is,
I should point out, Jill,
yeah.
I'm Vince Stone. I'm internet. You know me. I'm a staunch Microsoft defender, by the way.
Yes,
100%
I know.
All the time.
Yeah,
long track record of sticking up for Microsoft.
Ben is sticking up for them. But, Microsoft is doing what Microsoft does, and it's their best interests. And this is actually really interesting because the Software Freedom Conservancy, they, had this article, and it honestly has been creating waves of awareness in the FOSS community about GitHub, in their opinion, dwindling away the rights of open source projects. And I understand that. You remember, Ven, the mass migration from GitHub to GitLab when we found out that Microsoft was going to be taking over?
I know a couple of projects like panic migrate.
Yeah. They did. And
now I do want to point out, after all that's shaken down, pretty much everything I still use is on GitHub, and I have no love for GitHub. I use GitLab as well.
Yeah,
I'm not
same
knocking
here.
that. And Arthur in chat pointed out, yes, we should mention Git as well.
Yeah, Git is one of the best. In fact, I was going to mention that one. And then there's also SourceHut and Codeberg. Those are also good alternatives.
I don't know. To me, I'll use whatever I have to use. You know? like I still have to interact at least every other week with a mantis. So you could pour one out for old man Vin. That's still a
Yeah.
reality. I'll use whatever. There's a lot to be said of like, I know how to use GitHub, and I genuinely like the web interface of GitHub.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing of, Copilot imploding, 100% a possibility. Have contingency plans, I think, is the best strat right there. Because I don't like what Copilot's doing, but it's just straight up wholesale taking code, licensed code, and shoving it and suggesting it out. No. Make up your mind. Write in. Tell me why I'm right or wrong, or why Jill's right or wrong about anything. And just like, we'd love to hear that.
Yeah. Well, honestly, at the end of the day, I think Microsoft has really been actually a good steward of GitHub. Yeah, I don't like all their policies and some of the things they've done, but overall, they've kind of kept it, like it was before they took over. So I'm happy about that. But if you would like to move, the Software Freedom Conservancy launched a website, giveupgithub.org, where they provide tips, ideas, methods, tools, and support, and options to those that wish to leave GitHub. Mm-hmm. So it was a pretty good article.
And yeah, I mean, you can do self-hosting, and I don't know. I don't really feel qualified to really comment on that too much, other than I think Microsoft hits differently for those who were alive and well and of age of dealing with Microsoft in the 90s.
Yeah, definitely.
That was a different creature, and we know parts of that creature's DNA still exist in Microsoft in the 2020s.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, every time Microsoft does something good, I'm like, you got to do something bad now to balance it out. Yeah. Like, oh, who knows? Mm-hmm. But I do know that you can now use extensions with the GNOME web browser. Also, GNOME has a web browser.
Yes. So GNOME Web, also known as Epiphany, is actually one of my favorite web browsers, and one that many Linux users overlook. It is finally adding support for web extensions, which is something I have been wanting for quite some time. And honestly, now that it has web extensions, I'm going to be using this browser even more than I was. And, now you'll be able to use your favorite add-ons and extensions with this very nimble and powerful, yet very minimal web browser. And this will help it compete with the likes of Mozilla Firefox and Google's Chrome web browsers for Linux users. And what's cool is that the GNOME Web Extensions is actually part of the GNOME 43 feature set and is modeled after Fox's Manifest version 2.api, which includes compatibility with Chrome extensions when possible. So now you have the best of both worlds in an independent browser. And it's just so wonderful. One of the things, Ven, I love so much about this browser is on its surface, it looks very minimal. In fact, there are 2 different settings menus. And so on the forward facing for the average user, there's it's a really minimal interface, and there's a small set of settings. And then when you dig deeper, there's a full set of settings like you get in Firefox and Chrome. So it's very powerful. And now that it has extensions, is equal to Firefox.
Well, I just have to assume like GNOME's not done with it because they need to remove the powerful features. Then they can really say it's the GNOME product.
Well, I think so many of us in the Linux community, just kind of looked at it as a quick way to read documents online or blogs, and that was its history. But it has really come along, and it even has Firefox Sync.
Firefox Sync is nice. Being able to head over to the Firefox store and install everything. I'm not alone. When I first read this, my first thought was like, right. I think I knew that, there was some type of built-in browser with GNOME, but there was also like, right. Oh, GNOME has a browser. Of course they do. Everybody has one. And we need something different. You know, this is using Apple's WebKit rendering engine or KDE WebKit. I don't know. I'm not going to get that fight. We went on that history lesson, 2005, man. So we don't live in that Chromium future because we've already gotten a taste bringing up the Microsoft thing. It was like one engine controlling the web, where you end up with things like ActiveX and VBScript. We don't need that again. So yeah, having another option outside of Firefox and Chromium,
absolutely,
and having plugins can absolutely make this a viable thing, as long as everything renders correctly.
Yeah. So it's not yet ready for stable. It's in the Epiphany 43 alpha version. Mm-hmm. And yes, what's interesting, they still call the project Epiphany, but on the on the desktop they call it GNOME Web, even though it's a little confusing.
Well, that's
I think they should just call it Epiphany again. I don't know.
Of a certain age, because I saw GNOME Web. I'm like, I never heard of that. Epiphany? Oh, right. Yeah, I knew that existed. Right. I knew that was a thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's there. I'm glad it's kicking around. You say what you want about GNOME, and this is a great thing. GNOME, a lot of good tools have come out of the GNOME project. Mm-hmm. Whether or not you like the desktop manager. So keep that in mind. Now, this got a lot of hubbub.
Yeah.
On the internet. And GNOME, let's consider just dropping like X11 back in and GTK5.
Oh boy.
Who needs X? No. This is going to happen. You might have guessed a little bit of disagreement. Like, no, maybe we should keep the X11 back in for GTK5 and it'd be a thing. And then the internet, people showed up to express their opinions, and in traditional GNOME fashion, they just locked the thread, because, hey, people found out about this and would like to share their thoughts and opinions. Nope, we need to lock that. Can't have user feedback. Don't panic. Even if GTK5, your widget said to underexplain it. And even if that's Wayland only, that's probably going to be just fine, because GTK5 is a long way out. 2 weeks from now, you don't have to, I'm joking, but.
Even Katana in chat said it might be 5 years out, and I think you're right, Katana.
That's underselling it. GTK3 was released in 2011, okay?
Yes.
It's been that long. It seems like GTK3 is the new thing, and if you're on the XFCE team, you're like, yes, it's brand new. It came out in 2011. GTK4 didn't come out until 2020, so 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. That's a gap. So, and let's be honest, the only thing I even think about with GTK supports XFCE, and if XFCE is on GTK4 by 2031, I'll be a little surprised.
Yeah. I think it's a 10-year release cycle.
10 or 11 years. Know? And as the internet has told me, Wayland's only 10 years away, so it's going to line up just right. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. No worries. Yeah, don't panic about that, people. If anybody tried to wind you up about that, just like, no, don't worry about it. And you know what? If I was wrong 10 years from now, send me an email, and I'll be glad to apologize. Now, we are going to end up talking a lot more about Wayland because, well, I didn't predict it at all, but when NVIDIA finally said, all right, fine, we'll like balls rolling now, everyone, balls rolling.
It's time.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Like, just get ready for it. It might not be tomorrow, but one of the things that was holding us back, Joe, is compatibility, right?
Yeah, so I'm very excited for this, and it's come a little sooner, honestly, than I thought, but I'm very happy. So running a complete desktop environments within XWayland is actually now possible thanks to some patches merged to the master code. This will allow Linux distros to drop the Xorg server but still ship X11 only desktops like XFCE and Mate. Mate actually has Wayland support now, XWayland as well. But anyways, so XFCE is a good example. And I was so excited when I first read this tweet and was hoping, it would happen really soon, and it did, honestly, a little sooner than I thought. So now then, I can run all my favorite X window managers in Wayland, including Window Maker, which I'm using right now, Enlightenment, Fluxbox, Afterstep, ICE, Window Manager, and XFCE. Woohoo! Which I know you're happy about.
Yeah, like one of those is a real window manager.
Yeah. Ben likes Rodentia OS.
I like stable.
Rodentia Desktop. Yeah, so what is actually amazing to achieve this functionality, there were several new merge requests to X Wayland, including a new command line option, TAC full screen to run X Wayland rootful full screen. That's the key there, rootful in full screen, coupled with TAC geometry and TAC host grab. This allows to run a full X11 desktop in X Wayland on a dedicated monitor with X-Randor modes emulated, including resolutions higher than the actual output resolutions.
It's pretty neat.
Very good.
It's pretty fascinating. And, Jordan, if you're watching, baby, I'm cribbing your notes from Saturday because you pretty much laid it out. A lot of this does have to do with improving X Wayland's ability to run in rootful mode. So,
yeah.
You're talking about faking device cursor grabs and all that, desktop integration, arbitrary resolutions, fixed geometries, host grab support, and the ability for the capacitor to kill the main Wayland window in rootful mode. Now, will this be good for distributions? 100%. 100% because that Wayland ball is rolling. And this is yet one more thing that you can't say, well, this could hold us back because we couldn't ship XFCE or whatever. It's going to break X, Y, Z. It won't now. And really glad to see that. Really glad to see that. I had to look around, though. I was like, Enlightenment. I always wanted to run Enlightenment. Like, still.
Yeah, I love E17.
There's part of me, like, it's so neat. It's so 90s. It's like vaguely modernized 90s desktop. And it's still got its own look. Nothing looks like Enlightenment. It just doesn't.
Beautiful.
And it's not stable. It's not. I'll just go ahead and tell you that. You can pretend it is. I can prove to you it's not. I can show you how to crash it.
Production, yeah.
And, but Wayland support for Enlightenment is underway. I went and looked that up this morning.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no, they're working on it. Like, there's test builds. Like, okay, we can get this moving around. As Jill brought up, Mate has had Wayland support as of 1.26, so like last year, 2021. And I went looking at the XFC Wayland roadmap. They're still very much in the sort of kind of pretending Wayland doesn't exist / brainstorming phase of development. And I think that roadmap hasn't been updated in 2 years. Correct me if I'm right. But I worry about projects, and I can just speak to XFCE because I could see them going, why even bother if it's just going to run in rootful mode?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, unfortunately, it's like a lot of the game developers who are not going to make a Linux port. Well, it runs on Proton. Why do I need to?
They got a valid point. And much like Proton, like your core users, I'm going to say like XFCE, are going to be people like me. I got a studio to run. I got boxes. I don't need the whizzes. I don't need the bangs. What I need is quick, light footprint, stable, never crash. How often does it? Never. Like, I want to invite people over and take a screenshot if I see an error.
Yeah.
In XFCE.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very, very, a lot of confidence in that code base. How is that going to translate when it's running in rootful mode under Wayland? Because you know what? That's eventually I'm going to move everything over to Wayland and it's going to be integrated with Pipewire. And you know what? I don't want a Proton layer if I can get away with it. You get what I'm saying? And I understand bad analogy, but for the sake of argument, I'm going to use a Proton layer. I'm going to find something that is built for Wayland. I'm going to find a window manager that does everything I need. And I think that unfortunately would happen. It has a high probability of happening. And I want to be wrong. I don't like that. I don't like that future, Jill.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither.
Enlightenment. Come on.
Yeah.
One day. All right. That's enough of that. Where are we at? 23 minutes? We got a couple of minutes to spare. I would spare a couple of those minutes telling you about LinuxGamecast.com. go head over to our web zone. There's a link to our Patreon if you want to support us. Patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. Got a bunch of bonus sodas for you. If you can kick us 4 quarters a week, we'd really appreciate it. You get a live uncut version of this show. All the extra bits left in. If you're just like, hey, we try to keep this one to like 30 minutes, but it's normally about an hour and a half long. In and out, you need a little Linux content, extra custom RSS feed. It's going to be part of your Patreon subscription. Access to our Discord. You can also get that if you are a Twitch subscriber. That's a litmus test. If you want to come hang out in our Discord, you got to figure out how to link that. Google it. But I have faith in you because you're smart. You're listening to this show. That also lets you come play Trackmania with us if that's your jam, or any other. We're very community oriented on like things. If we're going to be doing multiplayer, that's where we go. We're like, hey, who wants to come play with us? Because we like bringing the community in that way. And we got other perks and things along those lines. Or if you can just share the show, tell people about it. Tell your cat about Weekly Daily Wednesdays. I'm sure it would be very excited. It might even yell back at you.
Yeah, my kitty Frodo has watched me during LWW.
What be this insanity? Yeah. It's us. Yeah. It is us. We also got a store.linuxgamecast.com. A bunch of other things. We have a YouTube channel. Some people watch us on YouTube. We're on Library. I know the Odyssey thing shows up. That's like synced.
Odyssey.
I think that's it. Spotify. You can leave us a message. Somebody proved that does in fact work. We played a voicemail on Saturday's Linux Gamecast Weekly, and that voicemail was like, Vin, you need to shut up and quit telling people it's simple as clicking a button. So
yeah, because it isn't.
phase 1 is click button. And after that, at somewhere, you bake in the narwhal at the end of that. All right, Joe, you get to give a little bit of thanks, though.
Yeah. So Gamatron from chat actually gifted me a beautiful pink Cadillac model to use as my car in Trackmania 2 Stadium. Thank you so much, Gamatron. I've used it for the last 2 streams we've done. And I love it, actually. The car is easy for me to see, so it really helped, honestly.
It's quite large and shouty, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but I love it.
That is nice. I threatened to give Ogie, I was like, I have a Hello Kitty car, by the way. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Yes, he does.
It's incentive. You don't want to get beat by the Hello Kitty car.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to tell anybody publicly about it. All right. Slice pie, 2 stories. Cheap pies and risky pies. Best I could do was trust me, I'm an engineer.
Oh, that was a wonderful find. The picture of someone did a cake with a circuit board pattern on the top, and it says, trust me, I'm an engineer. That's awesome.
There's almost enough capacitors on there for me to call it like a audiophile pro sound card.
Yeah. Truly. And they're nice big capacitors too.
I know, because audiophiles think, yeah, exactly. It's big, it's high quality. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Depends on the manufacturer.
No. You don't, like if you see a card with a bunch of, it's like having tubes stick out of something. That is made for the lowest common denominator. I'm like, that is not how things are done in modern engineering. But hey, you know what? It sells things. See, John's like, but it's big and it's a good manufacturer. It's like, oh, okay. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm not saying it's optimal. But what is optimal? $6 for a Raspberry Pi, Joe Bryant.
Yeah, it sure is.
Pico W, your $6 IoT platform. No, you're not going to run Quake 3 on it. I look forward to somebody trying to prove me wrong on that, but I think I'm safe because this little critter is packing a ARM Cortex M0, 133 megahertz, 264K of on-chip SRAM. It's kind of neat. You can get the Pico H. That's no Wi-Fi for like 5. Pico WH is really going to be like 7. The WH is not going to come out until August. And you got to keep in mind what this is. This is like an Arduino replacement type, IoT, right?
Industrial, embedded. Yeah.
I think Pedro made a point. He's like, the package for the Wi-Fi module is larger than the SoC.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And actually, the price points are wonderful. I mean, the original was $4. The original Pico launched in the world of actually hardware shortages in January of 2021 and it's had almost 2 million boards sold. Woohoo! And so now we have 3 Picos. And now you
Raspberry
have
Pi, I mean, you show me
choice.
this nice, the
Mhm.
2040, but you don't list the flavor profile. What's it taste like?
Yeah.
Does it have like hints
Uh,
of silicon and maybe a little bit of capacitor?
it might taste toasty, like you've baked some toast.
Oh no, you don't want it to taste like that. They
Yeah, you
usually,
don't want it to overheat. That's for sure.
yeah, you don't want to overcook it. I mean,
So maybe you need to put a heat sink and fan on it.
maybe we could pretend it's an NVMe. Did you see that in Discord yesterday, Joe?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I sure did.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
talking
you
about
can
PCI
buy them.
6
Yeah.
requiring like legit active cooling.
Yeah.
And I saw the picture in the article. I'm like, oh, look, they made a funny haha. Somebody had put a like heat pipe radial fan. Goodbye, everyone.
I guess Ben's camera died, but that happens.
Either that or it got unplugged or something. Just pretend
Yeah.
I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. But they built an active cooling heatsink on the NVMe. And I thought that was a joke until I looked it up and it was a real product.
Yeah, it's a real product you can buy. Yeah, I've seen them for sale.
And that's a thing. Yeah. $6 pies. I don't know about that. I'm kind of more interested in the Pine 64, though. Me been meaning to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is Speedy Pine. Yes, that's what I'm dubbing Speedy Pine. So Pine 64 has announced it is working on a RISC-V single board computer. Woohoo! We don't have detailed specs yet about the hardware, but we do know the RISC-V board will be available with 4 gigabytes or 8 gigabytes of RAM. Features support for USB 3.0, gigabit Ethernet, and a PCIe slot. Yes, a PCIe slot. So you can get that external GPU on it really easily. But this is really exciting news. I know Ven was really interested in picking this one up when it comes out. Pine 64 is always just pushing the envelope of things. And, they've had experience with RISC-V before with their Pine Sills smart soldering iron, which Pedro has. And there's a RISC-V chip on the Pinecone Internet of Things development board as well. So they are very experienced using RISC-V. And so this makes sense. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, what I think about Pine, we talked about last week, having a Pine phone. Pine releases a lot of Tinker devices. That's their bread and butter, and that's really what it is. Anybody tinkering with RISC-V right now is the ecosystem's virtually non-existent for the most part, but that's why you're there. Mm-hmm. That's what you're doing. You want to play around with it. And yeah, this is not going to be terribly powerful, but it depends on what it ends up, Yeah. We all want to play with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be, we want those RISC-V computers, that's for sure.
I just want to do this. I want to get like a full tower.
Oh, yes. There you go. Put a little Pine RISC-V. I wonder what the name of it should be. We got the Pine Tab and the Pine Phone and Pine Time.
Right.
Risky Pine? I called it Speedy Pine, but
I don't know. I call it Pine for Vendetta. Pine
there you go.
Edgy Pine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Risky Pine. However you want to roll with it. I want one long as it's reasonable. All it has to do is be in stock, and I'll buy one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been in the market for like 2 months to buy another Raspberry Pi 8 gig.
Yeah.
Because I had a project up.
Yeah. I've been wanting one too.
Yeah. The $280 to get a Raspberry. Like, that's just not going to happen. Like, it hurts me enough to pay $70 to $90 for one, though.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And that's from Lily Puting.
Lily Puting. Yeah.
.com. All that's going to be in our show notes after the fact, everyone.
Like a Lilliputian.
Right?
Yeah.
Just as delicious. A little bit of garlic, salt. Bite size, too. Nice and crunchy. Lilliputians. All right, everyone. We got to roll out of here. We're a little bit over our time, but thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to roll some credits and say goodbye if I got the music lined up.
Okay.
There
Hopefully.
it is.
There it is.
Credits.
Yay. Got it. Yay. Thank you to all our wonderful patrons. We have Katana in chat. We have Mir. We have Inertia. We have my Steve husband. We have FX Boy Forever. We have Artherin, otherwise known as
Now, in all
Gandalf the
fairness,
Cree.
Steve is in Discord under the beleaguered spouse accord.
No.
Yeah, we've been over this.
Steve _husband. Oh,
But we do want to
thank you.
thank all of you.
Look at that overlay. All our producers, our executive producers, our sea monsters, which System T is part of now.
All right, beautiful people.
Death Notes.
We're going to bounce out of here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Again, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Love you all.
It's camera stay on.
Curse of the Risk 5 crying. That's good.
I'm going to use this camera until it dies, by the way. So,
Yeah, isn't that amazing, Mirror? 334 episodes. Yeah.
as the
I've
person
been
who's
here
been here for
over
every
5.
single one of them,
Yes. I've been here for 4.5 years now. Wow. Yay!
I wonder, have DSLRs come down in price? And by that, I mean pre-pandemic pricing.
Yeah.
Because what I want is a Panasonic. Brain. Because, I mean, I wouldn't mind picking up like a Sony like S6000, something like that, but they're stupid priced right now. Like almost scalping price.
Yeah. Aw, thank you, Steve husband. Aw. Oh, hi, JS Rock. Welcome and hello.
There we go. We got about 10 minutes to hang out. If anybody has any thoughts, hints, allegations, or things that's better left on the side, I'd be happy to get to them. Lord Nikon, man, here's the thing. That Nikon I got for $99. That Nikon is probably the one YouTube video I've done in 10 years that paid for the product that was in it.
Yeah.
Unintentionally. Like, I thought it was like, hey, I found a way to make the timer stay on, but the downside is you have to have active cooling on the camera, or even with active cooling, it will overheat. And that thing's gotten like 34,000 hits or something like that over the years.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
No. I mean, I've probably not made $99 on that, but at least 50 or 60 bucks.
Yeah, JS Rock. See all my penguins? A lot of them were given to me by our patrons that you're talking to now in chat. And then a lot of them are just ones I've been collecting over the years. I have several hundred. They're not, this is a small part of my collections, but I rotate them around.
ZV1. Let's see.
I'm gonna pick up a ZV1.
The Sony.
Oh,
you know
cool
what?
JS Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, all I need something is about 24 megapixels that handles low light exceptionally well, because I got to put a big piece of glass on it for that, and not an incredibly slow piece of glass either, because I don't like light.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how big it
light
is. I have a
sensitivity.
wall mount. Like that camera, I have to get up and walk across. That camera's on the other side of the room, zoomed in.
Yeah.
I got room to like play in between here and there.
Yeah, mine has a remote. I haven't even set it up because I haven't needed to, but it has a remote. Yeah.
Like, that one's got Bluetooth on it, old as it is.
Yeah.
But and it works with there's a Linux application for controlling, which I didn't know. I tried it one time, and I'm like, that's neat. I'll never use it.
Yeah.
I don't know which one. Let me see. That is, but yeah, like, I just wish like webcams are just as bad today as they were 10 years ago.
Yeah, because it's basically the same chip, at least the good one, the Logitech
The
ones.
CDs in them. I mean, they're not.
How long has the C900 series been around, and before that the 700s?
Yeah. What was it?
I still have your C920 Pro. It's still
that 920 is
Yeah.
like, you're not going to find something astronomically better for the price, despite what Logitech's going to try to sell you, but you're not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, webcam's going to look like a webcam still to this day.
Yeah. Well, that's nice, Mir, the Super Zoom. That's a good camera. Mm-hmm.
And I have a bunch of Nikon glass from my Nikon D80 from back in the day. Oh, What is this? Yeah, that looks like your office window. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't hang if it was that bright at 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh, we got about 4 minutes. Anything else going on that I missed? I'm going to check email, see if anything exploded.
Oh, okay.
No whammies. There was a new version of Lutris. Lutris wine.
Oh yeah. I got the message from his GitHub.
They're interesting. I don't know. I don't use Lutris. I don't have anything against it. I just don't use it.
You hear that, Matthew?
No. Told him that. Yeah.
No, he knows. He knows.
I don't use it.
But I do. I do for a lot of my games.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, it's my software repository for all my games on my desktop.
That's called Steam for me.
Yeah. I use both, but I have some of the optimizations for certain games, and then all the emulated ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't live that life anymore. Proton GE, if I'm feeling nasty, yeah, I'll throw Proton GE in occasionally. If there's something, but like Proton Experimental, or just like Proton 7's gotten to the point where like I genuinely expect it to work. Yeah, at this point, right? You click on it, like, it's gonna play.
I know. I haven't had a game in the last probably year that hasn't played under Proton, so. And yay! And thank goodness for the Steam Deck.
Right?
Yeah. Love my Steam Deck. Do, 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 do. Mine's the only one I've seen with the pink cover, because this is the only pink cover I could find. It was on AliExpress.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have much love for GOG. With how just jerky around and smitey they've been to Linux with like the Galaxy client and teasing like, hey, we're totally good. And they've just removed it from their site like 2 weeks ago. Like, we're not planning on supporting anything but Windows. Like, get wrecked. They do have one use though. Like if I need, just
Steve,
data files. What?
I've been replaced by Steam Deck. He comes home and I'm on the couch on my Steam Deck.
Steve, like,
but I'm mostly practicing Trackmania on it lately.
how long did it take you to notice though? You're like, wait, something's a little different. I don't know.
That has been what's been so wonderful at the for the, having the Steam Deck is just to have, I can sit on the couch and I'm like, I have my whole Steam library at my fingertips now, right there on the couch. I don't have to get up and turn on the computer and fire up my rig. I have it right in my hands. And it's just so nice.
I could see like something like that. Mm-hmm. Like if I decided to run on a treadmill for some reason, maybe.
Yeah. It's more than that.
Well, to be honest, like that's like, you know what, vegging out in front of the computer's a little taxing. Let's see if I can get lying back on that couch. That's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a TV remote?
Oh, yeah, toilet time. No, I don't. I'm too OCD about about things staying nice and neat and clean, and so I don't bring them there with me.
All right, beautiful
I think Jordan
people.
will when he
We got to
gets
roll out of here, but it's been fun hanging out. We've been doing our time, having a good time, playing around. Jill, do you need to get it out of your system? You need to wave that around some more? I don't want you to drop it. Last thing I need to hear is clack.
Yeah.
Because you'll be mad.
Oh.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was fun. We'll be back. Jill will be back. And I will too on Friday.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, Jordan is doing, I forget the name of the game, but he's named myself, Matthew, and I think Michael and Foxdog as his characters in there. And he's making us die a lot. So it's kind of entertaining. And of course, Saturday, Linux Teamcast Weekly. We'll be back at 8:30, 7:30 for patrons.
Yeah.
You want to pop into the pre super shows and leave your mic on. Poor Nubbin. It's like, I wonder if Nubbin knows he's got his mic click immediately.
Yeah, I know. Poor guy. Yeah.
Which happens to everyone.
Yes.
So don't worry about it. But we'll see you later. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Everyone. Love you all.
Go poke something with your Linux stick.
An FX Boy, that is a good option. Put it in a Ziploc bag. But then I don't want to make it overheat either.